So, I have my list of pre-spring position grades, and I want to get your opinions on them. Where you agree with me, where you disagree with me, maybe where you vehemently disagree with me.
Okay.
You want to start with the offense or the defense?
Let's start with the defense.
Okay. So
a lot more changes on the defense.
Yes. So for defensive end, I put B+, and here's why. I wrote down very talented, but very young depth. Top guys might be better than what we had this year. Specifically on the edge. And then at defensive, but then on the I separated defensive tackle. And I said down the line, I think they have more depth there. What do you think? I gave that a B+ too. So yeah.
Okay, so B+ for basically the whole defensive line.
Yeah.
I would say I don't mind the grade for the defensive ends. I think a B. I think it's the closest B+ you could get to also like straddling the line with the B. I think I'm going to disagree with you with saying that their top end guys could be better than what we had this year. I don't see Caden Curry or Kenyatta Jackson having as high of a ceiling as JTT or Jack Sawyer.
Okay.
But both of them have shown stretches of very consistent play. And that was kind of the rub with both Sawyer and JTT was for a while they did not have the consistent high-level play. Curry has shown the ability to – I mean, he's got a motor that I really love because he doesn't quit on any play, whether it's on defense or special teams or whatever. So I do like the defensive ends. The defensive tackles, I'm going to go with a B, not quite a B+, just because we don't really know how these guys are going to show up now that they're actually getting real playing time. And the only guy who's really gotten a whole lot of rotation time, I mean, Edric Houston got a lot of play there at the end. We'll see. I mean, we've talked about how this would be the year for Tyrone Malone to finally, put up or shut up. They've got, like you mentioned, they're not as the depth there is a little scary for me. I know you said you think they're a little bit deeper. I'm not quite at D tackle. Yeah, I'm not quite there at D tackle with the depth. I just don't. Mainly because they didn't rotate like. Mainly because
they didn't. You're right.
They didn't rotate a lot of guys who were going to play this year. So I mean, I'm that's the only reason why I've got to be there. But ultimately, like you, I think overall the defensive line is probably a B+. They're still going to be good, but they're not going to be great.
Let me ask you this question. Now, they might not have as high as the ceiling as those two, like Jack Sawyer and JTT. But if you are more consistent week to week, are you then better?
I mean, that's an interesting question. I would say no.
Okay.
But I think that they still have a lot of room to grow. And that's quite frankly, it's not just Caden and Kenyatta who I think have got a lot of room to grow. I think we're going to see some Josh Mickens this year. He's hasn't really done a whole lot. Like to see what he does. I mean, they've got guys. I kind of wish they still had Hero Canoe because I was really excited to see what he was going to do finally with some playing time. But I think
we'll see him soon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like I said, I think the defensive line is still going to be pretty good. I'm just not. I just don't expect them to be great, and I certainly don't expect them to be as dominant as they were during the college football playoff stretch in these last 4 games. But that's also they have a lot of time to develop to get there, kind of like this group did. So we'll see.
One more question about the D-line. Because this guy can play in or out, and he's expressed that he will do anything. Does Edric Houston have a higher ceiling than JTT and Jack Sawyer? And even Tyleek?
I don't think he's got a higher ceiling than JTT.
Even though he played earlier?
Yeah. I mean, JTT played as a freshman. Jack played more snaps as a freshman than JTT did. But Houston, quite honestly, this is the year where I think they kind of need to figure out what they're going to do with him. Like I think he either needs to play inside or out, and a lot of that will probably determine who they hire with defensive coordinator. Like they'll figure out what position they want to play on that. I do like Houston a lot, and it was, I know he was kind of a last second. People holding their breath on signing day, whether or not they were going to grab him or not, whether someone else was going to swoop in and take him. So I do like him a lot. I'm very excited to see him play, but I don't think he's quite got the ceiling of a JTT. Now, maybe he's got the ceiling of a Tyreek. Tyreek ended up being pretty damn good at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So, but I like his size and his strength, and I like his work ethic too. So I think he's got the ability to develop into a pretty darn good tackle.
Okay. This will be much quicker. Linebacker, I put B, like B minus. I think there's a lot of talent there. Sonny helps bring. I think Sonny is the reason I have that grade at B, or else I probably have it around like a C plus. And then also, listen, there are younger guys in there that have talent, but I do believe there's a problem. I don't call it a problem, but it kind of makes you think if Petty, there's a really good chance Riley Pettyjohn is going to play as a true freshman. Now we do have Arvell Reese, who did too. He shined, but yeah, I have it around B minus.
I think that's probably the correct grade. I think right on the border, B minus B. I'm right there with you. Sonny is the only reason why it's there. CJ Hicks, they're going to move him full time to edge, so he'll play a lot of that defensive end, maybe even jack position. So excited, he should excel more there, which is kind of why I had the defensive ends as a B plus as well, just because that's where he's gonna play there a lot too. But we expect Arvell Reese to be the other starter. We don't know that for sure, but he played pretty well this year. I do think Pettyjohn's got a shot to play as a freshman as well. But again, Reese and Pettyjohn are two guys who are a little bit unproven. And quite frankly, Styles still needs some development too. And that's the reason why he stayed. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that grade.
And also, I'm sure this upcoming spring we'll see what Stover looks like and everything also. So there's other guys in there. All right, corner. Now, this is projecting. This is projecting. This is projecting. I have an A, straight up A. I believe that I have to assume, because he's gotten better every year, Igbinoson's going to be better than he was this past season. I'm gonna rightly just assume that, and I do believe that Jermaine is better than what Burke is. That's just me. I thought all last year he was better. And then you have guys like Aaron Scott. I think the depth is there. You have Bryce, who he's more of an athlete than a corner, but I think he's going to learn the position more under Coach Walt. And then we have who could be an X factor, Devin Sanchez. So I have an A for that. What do you think?
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. I also like Jermaine a lot. I'm not – Denzel Burke had his moments. Let's be honest. He was really good as a freshman. Mm-hmm. He was really good as a junior. He was really bad as a sophomore. And this year's his senior. I thought he just had – the first Oregon game was really bad, and that was about it. He had a couple of bad moments there, but overall he was pretty good this year. So, Jermaine, I think, is already pretty good. I'm not going to quite put him ahead of Burke yet. Now, I think he can potentially be better than Burke. I do like his potential more. And we already talked about how Devin Sanchez is one of the guys I'm looking forward to in the spring. So, A for sure, and I like Aaron Scott as well. So I agree with you on that one.
All right. And then at safety, I put A. I'm going to be honest. It's solely just because Caleb's back there.
Yep.
We're talking Lorenzo, who I think is probably going to start at. Yeah, I think Lorenzo's going to – I think there's a very good chance Lorenzo might start just off the strength of him being an upperclassman at the nickel safety spot. I wouldn't be a fan of that. I really wouldn't. But that is what it is. And then you talk about maybe McLean. There's a lot of unproven guys back. Hartford.
Yeah, those are that's where I would go. I would say Jalen McLean, I think, has probably got the best chance to be the other starter. But I'm actually going to disagree with you on the grade. I actually have A plus just because Caleb Downs is that damn good.
I'm okay with that.
He's really good. He's going to be the best player on defense, and in a lot of the games they're going to play, when the Ohio State defense is on the field, he's going to be the best player on the field. Period. He's that good. He can cover up a lot of mistakes from whoever the other starting safety is. He helps come down in the run game. He's the total package. So I think that safety group's an A+, no matter who they have starting next to him with him.
Okay, I can live with that. Now let's get the offense. Quarterback. I put B, straight B. And I struggle with that. I struggle with even giving him a B. Not gonna lie. There's little to no experience. It's just a lot of unproven, high quality talent. I think that's the best way to say it. A lot of unproven, high quality talent. I'm not afraid of Julian Sand playing. I'm not. I have the school of thought that I've seen Ryan Day with quarterbacks too many times since he gave JT Barrett his best season ever to think different, or best season as a passer. But I've seen too much proof in the pudding. What do you think?
I give them a C+.
Okay.
And that's solely because, like you mentioned, we don't know. We just simply don't know. This very well could turn into an A+ by the end of the year. Like we just don't know. Sand, Tavian St. Clair, Blake Hills, they were all highly recruited out of high school. They've all got talent. They've all got different talents. Sand and St. Clair, former 5-star recruits. Lincoln was a high 4-star. So all three of those guys they were highly recruited out of high school for a reason. But we just simply don't know how they're going to be when there's actual football to be played. Lincoln and Sand have got in during mop-up. The one time we did see Lincoln out there with real football playing, he looked bad in the Cotton Bowl against Missouri.
I don't blame him.
The offensive line was bad too. They gave him no favors. But he looked like a deer in the headlights, and he didn't know what to do with the fucking ball.
I don't think he's – well, here's my thing. You put him behind a bad O-line. He's a true freshman, and against a really good defense who had I think people forget that year Missouri had a really good defense, especially defensive line.
Yeah.
And after I saw what the offense looked like with Devin Brown, there's no way I could think. I bet you he didn't expect to play that game.
No, he definitely did not expect to play.
There was no way after seeing Devin Brown out there against that defense that he was going to do well. There was just
I'm not holding that game necessarily against him. I'm just saying the one time we did see him play, it did not look good. C+, could turn into an A+. We'll see who the starter ends up being, and we'll see, how well they do in spring practice.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm not mad about that at all. Wide receiver, A+.
Yep.
I
don't know if we need to go too far in depth with that. We know who's there. We know who's going to be good.
Exactly. Trying to think. Oh, here's my controversial one. Let's see what you think about this. Tight end, I put an A-.
I think you have it there just strictly because of Max Clair.
Not just because of him, but damn near because of him. So you look at Max Clair in 23 as a freshman, 22 receptions, 196, no touchdowns, and 24, 51 receptions, 685, 4 touchdowns. Now, I don't believe he's going to even have what he had last year because of just what's around him. But he's going to be put in better situations than I think Purdue could put him in. And then also, we have Will back. I think he's a good blocker. I like him as a really good blocker, and he can catch the ball. I think he had probably 2 or 3 catches in the playoffs. And then Jelani. Jelani is the how am I going to say this? I believe Jelani has more potential than even Max Clair has. He needs consistency.
Here's my thing on Jelani. I think the ship has sailed. I'm tired of just potential's there. Let's see what he can do.
He's a junior, right?
He can't stay healthy. He can't get on the field. In order for you to actually prove that you can do stuff on the football field, you have to be healthy. The best ability is availability, and Jelani doesn't have that right now. So he is not.
Did you put away about Tavion?
No, because Henderson had actually shown something on the field. Like he played as a true freshman for a reason.
But he was always but.
Yeah, but he got hurt a little bit. But again, when he was on the They trusted him enough to put him on the field as a freshman in the first place. So that told me he had a lot of talent. He was a 5-star kid coming out of high school. I watched his tape. I loved him too. I saw Thurman, in person at the spring game, his first year, and I really liked his potential. He's got a big wingspan. He's a big dude. He could be the perfect red zone weapon, but he can't stay on the field. Therefore, I can't really trust him to be a factor in this offense. I think the tight ends that are going to play the most are definitely Max Clare and Cass Merrick. I give this, I'm going to give him a B+, not an A-.
Okay.
Max Clare's really good. I think mainly just because in a Ryan Day offense, they don't use the tight end. They just don't. I know Brian Hartline's going to be calling the plays a little bit, and having a brand new starting quarterback, the tight end is a safety blanket. He's a security blanket for a lot of new quarterbacks. College football, NFL, high school, like at all levels, that tight end can do wonders for you. Claire's really good. His numbers, you're right, his numbers are going to be down just because there's so many other pass catchers around him. There's only one football. But I just B+, and I don't even really think it's because of the players. I just want to see the play calling put them in advantageous positions to catch the football. Now, blocking wise, I do like what Casimir can do on the edge. Claire, he's a good-ish blocker. I wouldn't say he's great, looking at his tape at Purdue. But I think a B+ is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I think that the only way I think he would use listen, when Cade Stover was here, a lot of that had to do with Emeka getting injured. Not Emeka. What was it, Emeka or JSN?
JSN got hurt a lot. JSN.
Yeah, and that's why he had the ball so much. We used Cade Stover that like he was Jeremy Rucker that year. Don't know why. It worked to an extent. But
that's the last time Ohio State really used the time was Jeremy Rucker.
Cade Stover got the ball more than he did.
Sure, but I'm talking about as far as actually using a talented tight end as a weapon, because Rucker had more pure talent than Cade Stover did, and they actually saw that going out in the red zone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see them do that with Max, but we'll see.
That'd be beautiful. You're right when you say this, Ryan. When you have a young quarterback, it really helps that you have a really good tight end. That's a safety blanket for sure. Yeah. Running back. This is another one I struggle with. I'm gonna go lower than the grade I have. Give me a straight B.
That's what I think. I think it's a straight B.
I wrote down. Yep. Okay. You got one of the best running backs out of the transfer portal. Cool. I think Downs Jr. is gonna be really good for us.
Yep.
Of course, Peoples got some tick last year, and when he got on the field, he looked good, especially early in the season. As Big Ten play came, it got a little bit tougher, but he showed flashes. There's talent there, but the thing is that one of the biggest, it's not usually for running backs, it's not about can you run the ball. It's not about can you read the hole. The biggest thing is blocking, and that's why I have them at a B. What do you think?
I have him at a B as well. Donaldson, I really like what he was able to do at West Virginia. He's shown the ability to kind of be that top back. He can score, down in the red zone. He is the guy who's proven on this roster, and it's just there's no one else really behind him. Like you mentioned, People's got some carries early. We both like what we saw out of him. But then as the season went on, they just leaned more heavily on Trey and Quinchon, which, I'm not going to argue with. They were both great. So my concern, like you, lies with their ability to pick up pass blocks and the ability to catch the ball to the backfield. Just because they, Ohio State did use the running backs out of the backfield a lot, in the passing game, especially during that college football playoff run. So, again, that's another position that could turn into an A real fast, depending on what happens. And it's not all on the running backs. I know we've got one more grade here left to do, but I think a B is I think it's fair at this point.
Yeah. Now for offensive line. You might disagree with this too.
Okay.
I put A minus. And here's my reason why. Yeah, I'm happy you disagree with me because I don't want to feel like I don't want to just say this, and talk out of my arse. So, Carson Hinsman has 19 starts at center coming into this season. You have two of the top transfer offensive tackles in Daniels and Anianwa. Daniels actually being the higher rated offensive tackle out of the transfer portal. You have Montgomery, who I might be overly biased on. Don't give a damn. I think he's gonna be great for Ohio State. I think he's gonna be a great player. But he also, in the first game against Tennessee, was coming in and out with Cerebell, and then in the last few games took control of that spot. You have Tegra, who again I have when guys go into the next year, I'm going to say I'm cautiously going to assume you are going to get better. I have to believe that Tegra is going to get better. Yeah, I would hope. And you know what? And same thing with Cerebell. If Cerebell takes Tegra's position because he's better than him, or he beats him out, then fine. I just believe that this offensive line is going to be more because I don't grade this based off of or think we're going to be better based off of what we have with Simmons and McLaughlin because that's not what we have for most of the season. I'm going based off of I'm thinking about them comparing them to what we have for most of the season. I think it's going to be a better offensive line. I think they're going to be more athletic. I think that I'm not going to sit here and say Anianwa's going to be better than Simmons, but I do believe Daniels is going to be better than what we had at right tackle at Fryer. I do believe that Fryer. I do believe that Montgomery's going to be. I think as a junior he could be just as good. I think he's going to be just as good or better than what Hinsman was. I think Hinsman is going to be better at center than he was prior to 2 years ago, and we was in the playoffs. I'm overly confident in this, but still cautious. But what do you say?
You have A minus. I have B.
Okay.
The offensive line is probably the biggest concern for me on the offense in general, despite the fact that they're returning 3 guys who started last year, kind of 4, with that guard situation. And here are my reasons for it. Hinsman, he was a solid center in the playoff. Almost all of his snaps were low. Like Will Howard's leaning down to pick up every single snap at his knees basically. Now I know he's already started working to correct that, which is good, but that's something I need to see. I thought he was much better as a guard when they were using him. Guard's his natural position, but he's not going back to guard. I do think he will be better at center. He is, of the question marks I have on the offensive line, he's probably one of the least. He's one of the players I'm least worried about.
Yeah.
Guard, I'm still concerned about. I'm still concerned because I do like Luke Montgomery. Like you, I do think Luke will eventually emerge as the starter at left guard. I think he's got more of the talent, and I think now that he's got a full offseason with having some actual playing time under his belt, I think he can use that to really go after the weaknesses that he has in the offseason and really attack those and come out as a better player in the spring. I'm worried about Tegra and Cerebell because I didn't like the way either one of them played for most of the season. And we need one of them. I don't care which, I don't care who, but we need one of them to step it up and be better. And the tackle situation, I'm more confident in Daniels than I am. I'm just going to call him Ethan. I don't want to butcher his last name right now. I'm just going to call him Ethan. Out of Rice.
Yeah.
It's a big step up from playing at Rice to Ohio State in the Big Ten. And your first game as an Ohio State Buckeye could potentially, if he starts right away, is going to be against Texas. That's a big jump up to go against the best team in the SEC. And I am worried about both tackles. I am worried about the right guard. And I would be less worried, and this is going to sound weird after how much I was bitching that Justin Fry was the offensive line coach for so long. He showed that he could develop and actually work the patch up the offensive line and get them to play together as a cohesive unit and play not just adequate, but really well. And Tyler Bowen hasn't worked specifically with the offensive line for almost a decade. So he's got his work cut out for him. He's a new hire. I want to see what he can do with this unit before I fully trust in it. And that's why I have him as a B.
So, I think this would be a good conversation right here. Where I'm more confident, the reason I'm confident in either Daniels or Onyanwa, and of course, this is a step up in competition. Now, it also was for Simmons coming out of San Diego State.
And he struggled that first year. He was bad.
Well, it wasn't even just that. Coming out of San Diego State, I think he was one of the more – he wasn't that good. He was one of the most penalized offensive linemen in college football. Yep. So I do believe that both of these two are at a step higher than where he was coming to Ohio State. So that's why I'm not –
I'll agree with you on Daniels for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm –
You know what? I'll agree with you on both. I think Ethan was slightly better than Josh Simmons.
Okay, so right. And like Josh Simmons last year, it was a small sample, but damn, it looked good.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
but I know. Okay, so we're not too far off.
No, we're not too far off.
Outside of offensive line.
Offensive line, I'm concerned about, and obviously, I just want to see the quarterback product, just because we haven't seen it. Like I said, that one could easily turn into an AA plus.